Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling the pretty serious challenges facing Trinidad and Tobago's Water and Sewerage Authority, WASA. Our mission really is to figure out how an institution set up back in 1965 to modernize water supply ended up being called, and this is a quote from 2021, dysfunctional in its entirety.
It really is quite the paradox, isn't it? Because WASA was created during the oil boom years. They consolidated things from the old councils, built huge assets, Hollis Dam, Neve, Coroni Arena. They built the physical stuff, big projects. But critically, the financial plan, the long-term way to actually maintain that massive system, that was, well, never really locked down sustainably.
Right. Okay, so let's jump straight into the immediate crisis then, because the system is literally hemorrhaging its own product.
That's precisely it. That's the #1 operational nightmare right now. We're talking unaccounted for water, UFW. And look, this isn't a small leak. Estimates are, 40%? Maybe even 50%. And crucially, this is fully treated, drinkable water that's already had all the money spent on abstracting it, treating it with chemicals, pumping it. Imagine just, throwing away half of what your factory makes every day. It's staggering.
And that massive physical waste, it drives the financial problems, right?
Yeah.
The numbers are, well, they're kind of mind-boggling. They bring in maybe TT $700 million a year.
Yeah.
But they spend TT $2.2 billion just to operate. So that's a $1.5 billion hole every year.
Exactly. A structural deficit. It's not like a one-off bad year. It's built in. And the only reason it keeps going is, well, the government steps in, pumps in about $2 billion annually, which, keeps the lights on, but it also sort of shields WASA from the real-world consequences of being so inefficient.
But hold on, don't they use desalination? The Point Lisa's plant, doesn't that help?
It helps with supply, yeah. Especially when the dams run low in the dry season, you need that reliability. But it feeds right back into the financial mess. That agreement to buy the desalinated water, it's a huge fixed cost. It's been called unsustainable. So think about it. Paying a premium for external water while simultaneously losing half the water you produce yourself through leaks. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, this is where it gets, well, really interesting, perhaps disturbing. The operational failure seems tied to, an institutional breakdown. That 2021 cabinet report found the management structure just ballooned, right? From 4 approved levels up to 8. And staff numbers, over 4,800 people when the approved number back in '99 was supposed to be just over 1,700.
Yeah, that bloat is key. Combine that with what officials called a no-consequence environment, and you create some really perverse incentives, and that seems to be the root of this alleged water truck racket.
Okay, explain that. How does having too many staff levels and this lack of consequences lead to corruption with water trucks?
Well, the allegation is pretty direct. That some WASA employees, or maybe people connected to them, deliberately shut off the pipe supply to certain communities. They basically create a water shortage, artificial scarcity. And then, desperate people, families who need water now, they end up having to pay sometimes up to $400 for a single truck delivery. And that truck water, sometimes it's sourced illegally, maybe not even safe. It's a health risk born directly out of mismanagement.
Wow. And on top of all that, the accountability at the very top seems, well, non-existent. The auditors, Ernst & Young, they actually issued a disclaimer of opinion on WASA's financials for multiple years.
Yes, and for you, the listener, you need to understand what that means. A disclaimer of opinion is about the worst thing an auditor can say. It basically means the books are in such bad shape, so unreliable, so unverifiable that the auditors literally cannot say if they're accurate or not. It's like a giant do not trust sign.
Unbelievable. And meanwhile, there's a whole other side of WASA wastewater. That's lagging too.
Seriously lagging. Only about 30%, maybe 40% of people are connected to a central sewer system.
No.
Most rely on septic tanks, and that's a big risk for contaminating groundwater over time.
So you've got leaky pipes, financial chaos, alleged corruption, unverifiable books, and sewage issues. Where does reform even start?
Well, lots of plans have been floated, but they often get bogged down by politics, union issues, you know the drill. But the experts seem to agree on one critical first step. It's about governance. They need to formally gazette the quality of service standards, the QSS that the Regulated Industries Commission, the RIC, has already developed.
Gazette them. What does that mean in practice? Make them official?
Exactly. Make them legally binding. Give them teeth. Right now, the RIC has standards, but without gazetting, they don't have the full legal power to enforce them properly, to impose penalties when WASA fails to meet targets. Gazetting gives the RIC that power. It creates accountability. That seems crucial.
Okay, that makes sense. Get the rules legally locked down first.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. Given everything we've discussed, especially the fact auditors couldn't even verify billions in assets, what should WASA fix first? Is it the pipes? Or maybe getting a clean, trustworthy audit opinion is the most urgent infrastructure project they have. Something to think about.